Good evening, everyone. We are ready to begin this evening's board meeting. Sergeant Arms, has the front lobby been attended to?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. We request that all electronic devices be turned off or put in silent mode. Also, please refrain from using flash photography except during the special presentations portion of the meeting. I am pleased to welcome the December 10th, 2024 school board meeting. The time is 6 p.m. and this meeting is hereby called to order. Prior to the start of tonight's meeting, you have been enjoying the music performed by students of Edison Park Creative and Expressive Arts School under the direction of Samantha O'Brien and Lisa James. This group's performance consisted of students from the chorus, violin, and ukulele ensembles. This amazing group of young students were just featured during the Lee County School District's Sound of the Season annual holiday production. We're going to ask them then to perform one more song. Thank you. Thank you, Edison Park. That was amazing. Perfect for this time of season. If you'd like to hear more from the Edison Park musicians, they will perform this Friday, December 13th at 6:30 p.m. for their winter concert at Edison Park. Please, as I said, we'll now take a brief pause as we clear the performance area. Great job. We're going to restart in 1 moment, please. Okay, we're going to resume tonight's meeting. We'd like to take this opportunity to remind the members of the public of the district's mission, which is to ensure that each student achieves his or her highest potential and the district vision to be a world-class school system. This evening's agenda includes invocation, presentations of colors and pledge of allegiance, acknowledgements, recognition, public comment, consent action items, which include 1 item under board office, 2 items under executive services, 6 items under academic services, 9 items under business services, 3 items under human resources, 2 items under information systems, 1 item under legal services, 21 items under operations, a recess for the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation we will have tonight as well, and 4 items under good of the order. Board members, is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda? Mr. Ribble? Okay, moved by Mr. Ribble, seconded by Ms. Jordan. Please record your vote. Motion carries 7-0. As is the custom of the board, Mr. Ribble will introduce his guests for the invocation. After this, Mrs. Langford Fleming will lead us in the presentation of colors and pledge of allegiance. Please stand.
For the invocation this evening, I'm pleased to introduce Rick Jacobs, the Executive Director at 4Kids of Southwest Florida, a foster care organization serving Lee, Collier, Charlotte, Glades, and Henry counties. For more than 3 decades, he has dedicated his professional life to the nonprofit sector. Rick has been married to his high school sweetheart, Christine, since 1993. They have 7 children, 3 biological, 4 adopted from foster care, and together they have fostered over 30 children in Southwest Florida the last 18 years. Rick's work experience combined with his personal foster care journey has allowed him to lead the successful expansion of the 4Kids organization in Southwest Florida. The 4Kids mission is simply to find a home for every child. Mr. Jacobs, thank you.
Join me in prayer if you would. Father, we give thanks for this day that you have made. I thank you for each of the board members, each of the people that are present here tonight that long to make our schools the best that they can be and to strive to reach incredible potential. An old proverb says, direct your children onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. And so our teachers, we pray, would long to do that for our kids. And then for those teachers, we're reminded what your scripture says, let us not get tired of doing what is right. For after a while, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't get discouraged and give up. And so, God, we're at that halfway point here of the school year, and we get to think about this break. And so we just lift our teachers to you and all the administration and pray that you would restore and refresh them. The kids have just got done singing Shabbat Shalom, which means peace and rest. So I pray that you would give that peace and rest to our staff, and also to all the leaders that pour into our kids. We ask these things in the strong name of our Lord. Amen.
Introducing the cadet who is presenting the national colors for our Pledge of Allegiance tonight is Lieutenant Colonel William Heck, Senior Army Instructor at East Lee County High School, JROTC. Lieutenant Colonel Heck served over 30 years in the Army in numerous assignments, both enlisted and as a commissioned medical service corps officer. He retired earlier this year as the executive officer for the 411th Hospital Center in Jacksonville, Florida. This is Colonel Heck's first year as a JROTC instructor.
Thank you. Presenting the national colors tonight is Cadet Command Sergeant Major Alan Redfield from East Lee County High School. He is currently the team captain for the Raiders, marksmanship, and color guard teams, and has a 3.6 grade point average. Earlier this year, he enlisted into the Marine Corps to train as a combat engineer. He is an outstanding example of what a cadet represents. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Next up on the agenda are acknowledgements. The character word for October, or for December, sorry about that, is kindness. This month, the school district of Lee County proudly announces the following two winning designs. Kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see, by Mark Twain. Hayden Johnson, senior at Fort Myers High School, created the first design you see displayed on the screen. And for the second design winner, kindness, demonstrating concern for the well-being of others. Isla Abar, a 12th grade student at Estero High, created the design seen on the screen. So, great. Good job. Now we're going to move on to recognitions. Board members, please join me in the pit for recognition.
Okay, good evening. Tonight we recognize the students from the 35th Annual Holiday Greeting Card Celebration. I would like to call Dr. Tomaszewski, yay, Coordinator of Fine and Performing Arts, to please join me at the lectern. In 1990, the superintendent of Lee County Schools, Dr. James Adams, requested high school students' artwork to highlight the district's holiday brochure. We continue to highlight this tradition and showcase the artistic talents of our K-12 art students. Each year, we request artwork from elementary, middle, or high school students following a 3-year rotational cycle. This year's entries, I'm hungry, were submitted a bit differently than in the past years. We expanded our program to all grade levels instead of the yearly cycle. Submitted entries were voted upon by the district staff, and the winners are displayed in our lobby throughout the holiday season. We will be honoring the top 3 vote getters in each level, elementary, middle, and high school. The year's winners and runners-up will also have received gallery space at the Sidney Byrne Davis Arts Center, which is downtown, to showcase their artwork throughout the month of December. It is my privilege to introduce our students' artistic winners. As I call your name, please come forward with your school representative. Alan Park, Adrian Valdez. And I'm gonna apologize up front, just in case I missay your name, I apologize. Hancock Creek Elementary, Christy Yamaguchi. Orangewood Elementary, Joseph Hoyt Rivera. It's bigger than him. Challenger Middle, Irani Gambo. Arena. Harns Marsh Middle, Aubriana Collins. Veterans Park Academy of the Arts, Emma Mitchell. Emma is unable to join us tonight from Cypress Lake High School. Oh, I'm sorry. Forget what I just said. Back it up. She's here. Emma Mitchell. Unable to join us tonight from Cypress Lake High School, Elena Gorney, school representative, please come up to collect her award. I believe Ms. Rolls is coming up. Okay. Riverdale High School, Sheila Pinnell Doran. Also, our next one is from their Young Parent Education Program, Kayla Reyes. The artistic talent of these students and the dedication of their principals and our teachers are sincerely appreciated. Their efforts have brightened our holidays. Congratulations again.
Good evening. The School District of Lee County is proud to recognize Masha Dorshavi. She is a senior at Fort Myers High School, and she's recognized for winning the Florida High School Athletic Association's Class 3A Girls Cross Country Championship. The competition was held at Appalachia Regional Park in Tallahassee, Florida on November 16, 2024. This is our golf script. Marcia ran for 18 minutes and 5 seconds, 0.5, I ran track. It was a sprint. There was no focus at all. Just had to listen for the bell and run as fast as you could. I had friends that ran cross country, and the focus it takes to run that race and the planning, you have to stay near the pack, do a good job. Then at the very end, you're worried about everybody sprinting up behind, or kicking, I think is the word they usually. That's awesome. To win a state championship is just unbelievable in that. The school board and superintendent are pleased to recognize Masha and her coach, Robert Berkeley, for their commitment, determination, and hard work that led to this outstanding accomplishment.
Thank you. Good evening. The School District of Lee County is proud to announce that Amy Clark, Director of Psychological and Social Work Services, has been elected as the Florida Association of School Psychologists President-elect. Mrs. Clark is a certified and licensed Florida school psychologist in her 7th year as Director of Psychological and Social Work Services in the School District of Lee County. Her focus has been to develop and grow the school psychology department through professional supervision, training, and recruitment, expanding school-based mental health services, and increasing compliant, timely, and appropriate evaluations. Since 2018, she has increased the number of school psychologists by 60%. Yes. FASP's mission is to advocate for the mental health and educational development of Florida's children, youth, and families, and to advance the professional development of school psychologists. A top priority of this organization is addressing the critical shortage of school psychologists in the state of Florida. The school board and the superintendent congratulates Mrs. Clark on this esteemed achievement and sincerely thanks you for your continued dedication to the students and families of Lee County. Thank you.
Good evening. The Suncoast chapter of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences is a nonprofit Florida corporation dedicated to excellence in television. They offer annual regional Emmy Awards called the Suncoast Regional Emmy Awards to television markets in the entire state of Florida, Alexandria, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Lake Charles, and New Orleans, Louisiana, Mobile, Alabama, Thomasville, Georgia, and Puerto Rico. The Communications Department has been recognized with 2 Emmy nominations in the education sector. Adam Wright and Riley Spicker for Hurricane Ian, a Lee Schools TV documentary, and Riley Spicker, new single hit, Teaching Beyond Sound. Nominees and winners were awarded during the annual Regional Emmy Awards Gala this past weekend. We are proud to share that our team came back with the coveted Emmy statue for the Hurricane Ian documentary. Congratulations, Mr. Wright and Ms. Spicker.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. The Markham Awards honors excellence in marketing and communications while recognizing the creativity, hard work, and generosity of the industry professionals. Markham is administered by the Association of Marketing and Communications Professionals. Since its inception in 2004, Markham has evolved into one of the largest and most respected creative competitions in the world. For the 2024 School District of Lee County Communications Department was honored with 2 distinguished international awards, a Platinum Award in the Strategic Communications category for the SDLC Strategic Communications and Engagement Plan, and a Gold Award in the Publications category for the SDLC Impact Report. These accolades underscore the department's commitment to excellence in delivering strategic, impactful communication initiatives. The school board and the superintendent congratulate Director Irma Lancaster and the communications team for their continued dedication and creativity in connecting with our stakeholders to tell the district's story. Please come up and join us in the pit. Congratulations again. No, thank you. Thank you.
That was awesome. We're going to move on now to item E, which is public comment. Attorney DeVry Bruno, please address the item of public comment.
Thank you and good evening. School board policy provides the opportunity at this point in the meeting to address the board concerning any matter on this meeting's agenda or any other matter relevant to the operation of the school district. Please complete a public comment card and put it in the basket provided. If you need a public comment card, they are provided by our staff. The rules concerning public comment are posted in the back and will be made from the podium in the front center aisle. Please be advised that the board will not respond during public comment to remarks made by speakers. The purpose of public comment is to provide feedback on district issues such as duties, responsibilities, decisions, and the general operation of the district. The school board is viewpoint neutral during public comment. We ask that decorum be kept and respect be shown, which is what is expected when a government agency conducts official business. Therefore, abusive language, defined as swearing, use of profanity, or name-calling is prohibited. In addition, clapping, hissing, booing, or a display of temper during public comment is prohibited. Speakers who fail to follow proper decorum in the chambers will be ruled out of order by the board chair or the board attorney. Any speaker continuing with such remarks will be required to relinquish the microphone per Board Policy 0169.1 and may be removed from the chambers by the Sergeant at Arms. For Board Policy 0169.1, the time per speaker is 3 minutes if there are 20, 2 minutes if there are 30, and 1 minute if there are 31 speakers or more. The maximum time allotted for public comment is 1 hour, 60 speakers. You will find a countdown on the big screens in the front of the room. Once your time has elapsed, the microphone will automatically shut off. Please state your name when you approach the microphone, and I will call you 5 speakers at a time. Please follow staff's direction when lining up. Mr. Chairman, there are 13 individuals that wish to address the board this evening. The time per speaker is 3 minutes.
Thank you, Attorney Debris Bruno. Please ensure you have completed a public comment card to provide public comment. The card is a public record identifying those who speak and providing contact information to staff for follow. The cards are located with staff in the hallway. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak that has not filled out a public comment card? Please raise your hand. Okay, I am seeing none. Attorney Debris Bruno, please begin public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Will the following individuals please line up? Anthony Call, Jessica Lawrence, Robert Lawrence, Ali Locke, John Koss.
Hello, my name is Anthony Call, and of course I'm here again. We've had a driver who was pulled off their bus and beaten on, and I've numerously said about the safety of our school. But I am actually here today to ask that our executive director be removed from his position because he has created an inner circle where only he decides what goes on. There's positions made for people that do not need to be there. The word of the day up there was kindness. The one person he made an assistant director now was an intern director and had a stack of complaints against her filed by not only people, but employees that have quit, retired because of this. We're supposed to be excellent. I'm proud to wear this uniform. Some of the kids that stood up here and sang, I was their bus driver when they were little. We need respect back here. We're wondering how now we have 6 people that are making over $100,000 a year when there used to only be 4. What are we doing? Why are we throwing money away? And us drivers and janitors and everything are fighting to get a pay raise. And we can't understand this. He's made decisions that have cost where they're having to move people to clean up the mistakes. Who is watching over this? Who is sanctioning him? Who is watching the decisions he's making? It's making us look bad. I'm asking, please, have somebody overlook these decisions. Because when you got to pull a director from the Leonard compound to come over to the South compound for somebody who should have never been there in the first place to fix that mess and then make her a position as an assistant director, are you going to give every one of the hardworking directors an assistant director? No, because we can't afford it. But it's costing us money. Bad? We have parents standing at our door going, what are y'all doing? I don't know. I don't know what to tell them anymore. I'm sorry. I'm the one who has to say, I'm sorry that your kids are late to school. I'm sorry that our staff is working so hard to get your kids to school, but I'm sorry. And our staff is upset. Our supervisors, they work tirelessly. I know one West supervisor, she's there from morning till evening. I praise her every day, but does anybody come and shake her hand and say, you've done a wonderful job? No, she just keeps working and working and working. So I would really appreciate if y'all would look into it and please figure out what we're going to do with this district so that we can get these kids to school so they can actually learn. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Lawrence. I am an English teacher at Lee Virtual School. On August 29th, the Executive Director of Human Resources sent an email communication with an opportunity for teachers to voluntarily transfer to a BSI school. After speaking to my administration and considering all the details, I accepted, based, of course, on the terms outlined and confirmed in writing. I was excited for the challenge of working with new students and collaborating with my new partner teacher. When the turnaround supplement was finally added to our employee current compensation mid-November, we noticed that the supplement had been reduced by 15%. I was met with hostility, ridicule, and condescension upon requesting support from Union President Kevin Daly. I've been told via email from Ms. Rivera and Dr. Iarusi that, quote, unfortunately, it was not specifically stated in the letter that all supplements that are available through the TALC contract are prorated from the time of year that a person begins working in a turnaround school. I have to stop and ask, with a letter that was sent on August 29th, with a deadline from the state to have our names added as teachers of record by September 15th, it is clear that district personnel knew the amount would be reduced, but unfortunately chose not to include that information. I'm asking that you look at the incentives offered here in black and white and not allow the district to backpedal on what we educators agreed to upon accepting these assignments. I'm asking that the district not be allowed to bait and switch its teachers. I'm asking that we be paid in full as stated in the letter, which specifically asked us to help the district. If we allow the district to act without principle, namely asking teachers to take a job and lying by omission about the pay, it sets a precedent that teachers can enter into an agreement with the district only to have the terms of the agreement change after the fact. We strive to hold our students accountable, but the district can choose to act in a way that flies in the face of accountability. We ask our students to hold themselves to high expectations and standards, respect themselves and others, and teachers are asking for the respect of honoring the agreement to be paid the full supplement amount, the only amount disclosed to us. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Robert Lawrence, and my wife and I have been teachers in the School District of Lee County since 2012. Through that time, we've been continuously mistreated in regards to transparency and consideration regarding payroll and compensation. The most recent transgression that the district has undertaken to take money out of our pocket and thus food off of our table was the money that my wife described before me to you all, regarding the written confirmation that she would receive all, not a prorated portion of the BSI stipend, and that now broken promise. In my own time in the district, I've received a half check without a warning that payroll counts days for employees on a 206 contract to start the school year. I've had stipends thoughtlessly and inconsiderately added to paychecks that increased the amount it was taxed. I've had to wait months for payment of services rendered outside of my normal contract hours and terms. I learned that our district that other districts help teachers get less taxes taken out of the Civic Seal of Excellence stipend, while we, the teachers within Lee County, covered that on our end. To all of that, I ask you kindly, please stop messing with our money. Most of us entered this profession because we have a passion for teaching students, but it is our personal children, my two are sitting here tonight, that are paying the price of the school district's continued practice of finding loopholes, making excuses, and failing to uphold their promises surrounding payroll and compensation in a transparent and timely manner. Despite being a governmental career of service, these are our careers, our lives, and the inconsiderate and often forgotten fact remains that when you withhold payment, delay payment, or impact how those funds are taxed, that you take money away from a group that is already severely underpaid and struggling to give our families the lives that our peers in other businesses with similar credentials are able to give theirs. I simply ask, what measures are in place to hold those individuals and departments accountable? I've given up on TALC being an instrument to keep the district accountable due to its poor leadership by Kevin Daly. If you wonder why teachers leave, why there is a shortage, why our schools are in situations that they are regarding staffing, look no further than how you treat your employees and the situation that you put them in when asking them to do jobs without adequate payment in a transparent and timely manner. Our children are here so my wife and I can set an example of standing up for yourself. I hope that this board and the superintendent also set an example of doing the right thing and fulfill their promises. I'm proud of my wife for sharing her story and support her in her quest to hold the district accountable to their word, because this has gone on far too long. I hope that with new leadership sitting in front of us, this triggers the type of change the district dearly needs to allow our children to continue their academic careers within a district that is hemorrhaging quality teachers based on practices just like this. Thank you.
Will the following individuals please line up? Robert Daniels, Jenny Tardif Paradiso, Devach Botana, Gary Price, Alexander Grant.
Good evening, board members. My name is Allie Locke, and I am also a teacher at Lee Virtual School. I have been a teacher in this district for 13 years, and I have faithfully served my time here and been identified as a highly effective teacher year after year. I, too, received the email back in August to voluntarily switch and help out schools that were identified as BSI schools. Like Mrs. Lawrence, we had the conversation with our principal and our administration and agreed to the terms that were laid out before us in the letter sent by the district. When our supplement was finally added to us, we saw that it was reduced by 15%. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when we make what we make, every penny counts. Dr. Carlin, I voted for you because I believe in you. I believe in your platform, and the administrators that I've worked for over the past 14 years also believe in you. I am told that you are teacher first and that you will do everything you can for teachers in this district. All I'm asking is that you honor that, please. We were told when we looked into this by Dr. Suzette Rivera that she would escalate the request to honor the full amount of the $4,000 to our supplements, but then later told by Dr. Irusi that unfortunately it was not communicated that that would be prorated. I'm asking you please to fix this error because it will not cost the district much to honor this, as fewer than 30 teachers had to make this switch. With a district that has over 200 current vacancies, your strategic goal is stated to retain highly effective teachers, and this is one way that you can do that, by honoring what you said you were going to do for us. Thank you.
Greetings. Welcome to our new superintendent and board members I haven't seen before. My name is John Koss. I'm a proud parent of a child at Fort Myers Beach Elementary, as well as a member of the ad hoc committee, representative from our town. I want to give you a quick update on where we are with the ILA. There's been a glitch getting an accurate operating cost number. I'm not sure why. However, we collectively know what that number is because previous superintendent Dr. Bernier presented a proposed budget for this year that our previous principal, Dr. Kohler, confirmed she held to prior to retiring. I went over the numbers with her. It's a little over $1.1 million. To be exact, $1,134,803. We had 67 kids prior to Hurricane Milton. We lost 5 on a temporary basis, but feel confident they're coming back upon our return to the beach. If I divide that 67 kids by our current operating costs, we've already met the terms of the ILA, as our cost per student will already be lower than Pine Island. If I divide it by the 62 current students we currently have, not counting them 5, we're only a couple $100 per student above them. How did this happen so fast? 2 reasons. First is hard work and sacrifice by your staff and teachers. Over $500,000 was saved in our staffing. We went from 25 to 30 staff down to 15 to 20. Second is hard work by our community. Your demographer told us we wouldn't have more than 40 kids in our school by now. We're up to 67. I could go in detail on the multiple ways we collectively have increased, but don't think they're important for this message. I was extremely disappointed that Kirsten Patrica stood in front of you last month and cared so little about our school that she didn't take 5 minutes to verify our current numbers before labeling us her biggest regret. FMB is nothing short of a partnered success story, an amazing success story in the making. I implore you in the strongest terms to keep having our back. as we will achieve great things together for our child. I want to thank you for hiring Kim Praxis, our new principal. She will be the same rock star for us that Dr. Kohler was. And I want to tell you, your teachers are amazing. Our current staff levels, as well as the more diverse kids we are seeing at our beach school, makes their jobs very difficult. But they are true warriors for our kids, and we really appreciate that. Lastly, Hurricane Milton hit October 9th. That will be 9 weeks tomorrow. Our parents still have not been given a timeline for our return. This is just too long. It's unacceptable. 9 weeks. Sending a Friday email that basically says we are still waiting in this or that just isn't cutting it anymore. It's hard for me to convey to you how much more difficult our families' lives are when we get bussed off the island, how much time our parents can't go to work because we're waiting.
Thank you, sir. Your time is up.
My name is Robert Daniels. I have a new character word that I would like to recommend for next month, reciprocity. That is the basic idea that if I enter into an agreement with you and I do something for you, I will get something in return from you later, as agreed, without having to fight for it, having to argue for it. You could call that the foundation of our social contract with each other. The idea that if I live in my house and I don't bother your house, you won't come and bother my house. This is how everything in our society works and holds together. As my coworkers have come down and talked about, we have a problem with this idea currently in the district, but it's not new. As I have come here for the last 2 years and spoken about, this problem has been in the compensation portion and in the student discipline portion of our work for going on about a decade now. When I first came to the district 13 years ago as a teacher, the charter school employees were all applying to fill every position we had. They were chomping at the bit. To get to the district was a goal. Getting to the district for me meant a raise of $5,000, back when that would translate into about 12 and a half now. It was an incredible jump to come to the district. The district had excellent student scores. Unfortunately, they've dropped at about the same rate as teacher pay has as we adjust over time. I'm the numbers guy. I've come here before with the numbers I've taken from your annual reports sent to Tallahassee and hosted on the DOE website, and have said, hey, our pay was down by 24% when I first started. We've gotten a little better. It's down by about 16% now. I came forth and I said, hey, why is it that our pay as a portion of the total budget is down by about 9% for its portion of the budget, with the thousands of millions, again, thousands of millions. If it's 2.5 billion, that's thousands of millions of dollars. It is very discouraging to the teachers that the union, when it is able to, has to come and press lawsuits to get a partial payment on an agreement of what was to be paid, to hear that even what amounts to chump change for the district is not being paid out to employees directly without having to protest and lodge complaint. One of the few things we can fix directly with just throwing money at it in this district, as I have said before, is the teacher pay, the support staff pay, the bus driver pay. Your own ESOL department came here last year and said they could not hire new personnel because the applicants were refusing to accept the job over pay.
Time is up. Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, Bill. How are you? I'm Gary Price. I've been a resident of Lee County for 46 years. So I've seen the growth that's happened in Lee County, and most of it's good and necessary. The downside of that is the destruction and loss of any historical structure, many historical structures we have. Bonita Springs has 3 basic historical structures and a few houses. One of those is Bonita Springs Elementary. Many of our residents, including one of our mayors, went to school at Bonita Springs Elementary. I urge you to do what you can to preserve that structure, or at least a portion of the structure that we all see from the street. If there's no will, there's no way. I had the pleasure of being instrumental in the preparation of the Untold Stories of WGCU. And the reason for that is because we don't have in-your-face history. We don't have the structures like you have in New England. We don't have the forts and the structures like that. But we do have some historical structures, and they are important to the future of our community. If you forget your past, you're in a sad state. So I urge you to do what you can to preserve the Bonita Springs Elementary School. Thank you.
Will the following individuals please line up? Robert Rieux? Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
You mispronounced my name, and I need to talk. It's Derek Botana. Is that okay?
I'm sorry, I'm calling some individuals to line up for public comments. If you could just please hold. Lou Navarro and Nigel Fullick. The other individuals who are lined up, please go ahead and continue on. We're just adding individuals to the line.
And Mr. Botana will be next after Ms. Tardif. Thank you.
My name is Jenny Tardif Paradiso, and I am a parent of a child at Fort Myers Beach Elementary. I'm an alumni of Beach Elementary, a member of the PTO board, and I'm also on the ad hoc committee. Last time I was up here, I was convinced that it was the final time. No offense to anyone involved, but that was not a good time. Not for myself, my friends, my neighbors. We spent entirely too long not knowing and too long fighting. I'm here because I don't want a repeat of that for any of us. I understand the floors are saturated, the drywall needs to be changed out, the remediation is done, the report should be done. We're all familiar with the ins and outs of post-storm procedures and how quickly or slowly these things can go. Please keep moving forward. Please keep the parents informed, actually informed. I want us to be able to continue hard on growing our STEM water school program and continue to increase our enrollment and meet the goals that were laid out in the ILA that was formed. We promised our children that they would be back on this campus before the school year is over. Please help us make that happen sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Derek Botana, and representing the Bonita Springs Historical Society. Dear Lee County School Board members and staff, I stand before you today, not just as chairman of the Bonita Springs Historical Society, but as the voice of thousands of residents who deeply value the heritage of our community. We are here today to ask your support in preserving the historic sections of the Bonita Springs Elementary School. This isn't just a building. It's a part of our city's soul, a place that tells a story of where we've been and inspires us where we're going. In a little over 2 months, I launched a petition to save the vital pieces of our history, and the response has been overwhelming. 1,116 Southwest Florida residents have signed this petition, and over 11,364 individuals are actively following our efforts. These numbers reflect a community that cares deeply. The message is clear. We want to see the historic sections of the Bonita Springs Elementary School restored and repurposed, whether as part of the school's future or a place entrusted by the community to serve as a local museum, a welcome center, or a cultural hub. This is an opportunity to create something extraordinary, a place where education, history, and community come together to inspire future generations. Imagine students and families walking through halls that tell the stories of Bonita Springs, learning not just from textbooks, but from the walls around them. Imagine a space that welcomes visitors and serves a vibrant landmark, celebrating our past while creating pride and belonging. We understand the challenges of balancing budgets and priorities, but preserving the historic core of Bonita Springs Elementary is an investment, not just in bricks and mortar, but in the identity, legacy, and our community spirit of Bonita Springs. I urge you to listen to the voices of the people, the 1,116 petitioners, and the 11,360 advocates watching this moment. Last Saturday, I had my first town hall. There were several individuals from City Council present. There is now 15 active individuals like myself that are ready to go door to door, if we have to stop the destruction of the historic Bonita Springs Elementary. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Robert Ryu. I work for the district in the maintenance department. Dr. Carlin, congratulations, and the rest of you. I'm here today for just a couple of reasons. Anthony, I worked with Anthony when I first started driving a bus down here. We moved here from Connecticut. And he's totally right. I've seen how they work. I've never seen anything as bad as that is with the bus company. Sad to say, I moved on. I worked in maintenance department. I'm here today because we just got a new contract ratified, and I noticed that our wages, our starting wages, went down in turn to give us a raise. Now, we had a study from Green or whatever, and we found out we were so far behind other districts, we needed $22.7 million. Why did you, this is not my wages, but some of the guys I work with, laborers, 16 something an hour, you brought them down to 15.90 something. Carpenter, 22.04, now it's starting wage just 21.99. I don't understand that. We can't get enough workers. We keep going and going and going, do this, do that. What are we supposed to do? When I started working here as a bus driver, there was almost 800 bus drivers. We're down to like 530, 550. Why are the kids late? Well, we got 200, 300. I hear the district say we're only 100 short. Well, to me, if we had almost 800 and now we're 500 something, there's a problem because we went from 94,000 kids to over 100,000 kids. Now, you guys can give yourselves $30,000 raises, you can do whatever, but a bus driver gets $1,700 a year. Figure what? Give us a break. Dr. Carlin, you said you would work for us. Please help us. I love my job. I really do. I enjoyed it. I came here, I worked on these walls. I put them all back together. Jeff and I. He's retiring in February. I do what my boss tells me. I enjoy my job. I've been a carpenter for 30, almost 40 years. But we need your help. Thank you.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Carlin, good to see you up there finally. My name is Nigel Fullick, and I'm here this evening representing the entire City Council of Bonita Springs and several thousand concerned citizens. I'm also grateful that 3 of my fellow council members are here with me this evening. In May, I learned from a parent that a meeting was held at which parents were told the entire school building was to be demolished and a new modern school would replace it. We applaud the intent to provide long overdue upgrades to the facility, but believe several important factors were overlooked in making the decision. This brick schoolhouse was built in 1921, and our school is the only property in Bonita Springs listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. A state historic marker is displayed in front of the building, and I was there in 2008 when Lee County Board Chair Dr. Jane Kuckel, a good friend, and Mayor Ben Nelson cut the ribbon and placed the marker. It remains a proud day in our city's history and is one of the few tangible reminders of our past. We expressed our concerns to the school board staff after I confirmed the school meeting with Kathleen Morgan. There were some informal conversations between city staff and your school board staff after Sam Fisher called me at home in June. Our staff and myself were of the understanding that your staff was working on providing more information, revisiting the decision, and that we would then meet to address our concerns. While we have not had any formal meetings with elected members of your board and our council, we were given to understand that we could address them in a public workshop. That being the case, in good faith, our council took no further action and avoided addressing this through the media. Fox News reported last Sunday that school board representatives had stated that you were demolishing only a portion of the old schoolhouse. But our city manager was informed in a letter on November 11th that your board would not meet with our city council, and the decision to demolish the entire building remains intact. I, along with several building officials, contractors, and engineers, have concluded that the deferred maintenance and lack of necessary repairs over the past 4 years have now rendered the school to a state where restoration is neither feasible nor pragmatic, costing anywhere between $6 and $8 million. We recognize and shared that to do so would not represent responsible use of tax dollars or be in the long-term interests of our children. In conclusion, I'm here this evening to ask that your new board recognize the district had a responsibility to maintain this historic building and now has an opportunity to work with us to preserve a limited portion of the structure by focusing on the south facade and incorporate only the original building's footprint or floor plan in the new construction. We want to put past issues aside and work with you to the benefit of the children, families, and community that is Bonita Springs and Lee County. As a reminder, Bonita Springs represents only 8% of the Lee County population, but we contribute over 11% of the school board tax revenues.
Council member, your time is up. Thank you, sir.
Alexander P. Grant from Bonita Springs, and I'm a member of the city's Bonita Springs Historical Board. My resume is being sent to you. I have a bachelor's degree in both chemistry and history from University of Chapel Hill and a master's degree in soil science, and I've had entomology courses after that. And anyway, so I am a state certified pest control operator, and I own Bugs Away Inc. When I heard about the problem with the school, and I had received from the city manager, and I read all 132 pages of the report on the Bonita Springs Elementary School, I looked into the termite problem, and from my observations in the photographs on a number of pages, they are drywood termites, which obviously must have occurred from flying insects in the vicinity that somehow got into the roof area of the 1927 building. Now, I know that the people at Shangri-La, the developer there, built on his own, so first bought the property on which this school is and built the 1921 school. In 1927, there was a city of Bonita Springs before the Depression, and then we unincorporated, and then we incorporated. Thanks to me, I was chairman of the original city charter for Bonita Springs. Anyway, in 1999, the National Historic Society, the National Park Service made this a National Historic Site. I had spoken with the city manager, and
thank you for your comments, sir. Your time is up.
Good evening, Chair, School Board, Superintendent Lou Navarre, 38-year teacher, talc member, Jasper, PSTD service dog. I spoke with you, Mr. Fisher, and Mr. Persons last week. I was really disturbed about returning to only, not returning, but going to one meeting a month. You're the 5th largest district in the state, 32nd in USA. Y'all are making about $50K now, according to Mr. Persons, and the starting teacher salary is only $50,500. 3 minutes for citizen input once a month? You need to go back to 2 meetings a month. My opinion, you're falling forward. The more money you're making, the less you want to do the job. I'm discouraged. I was also not very happy about being intimidated by the security guards because I went over a few seconds. You know, you need to lighten up, Mr. Fisher. We talked about that. Even Mayor Gunther gives you about 20, 30 seconds, and he's a pretty tough customer. Then the CCPD might come in, not these big people here that came over to intimidate me. I don't like intimidation. At 20 years old, I was at Fort Jackson, Fort Gordon. We've been now found out we were exposed to Agent Orange. Where were you all at 20? Happily living your lives. This is wrong. I'm really discouraged, so please don't intimidate me, all right? I just, for the record, all I had asked for was some prayer for Dr. Charles Bell, 30 years person here, employee. That's all the family wanted. And I wanted to mention something about volunteering to be with kids. Well, we won't go through that anymore. You know, I'm disturbed that these people have to beg you for supplements. You know, I don't know what's happened. I'd like to know why TALC got $90,000 from FEMA and I got $0. What's going on here? Dr. Bernier, I respect him, but he's left baggage behind. I really believe that. I'm trying to get a hold of him in Jacksonville, but he didn't return my calls. Something's wrong here. You know, I'm going to wish you Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, but I'm going to wish you health, because with health you have everything. All that money, you ain't taking it with you. Ask Jimmy Buffett and anybody else, and I'm not either. I turned 80.
Your time is up, Mr. Navarro. I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes public comment.
Thank you, everyone. For those of you who can't see, I've noticed Superintendent Carlin's staff has gone around to address many of the issues, so they will be looked into. So I also want to address, we had members from the city government, city council within Bonita Springs. I saw Vice Mayor Perdone, as well as we had the aforementioned council member Fullick. I don't know if I missed anyone else. My apologies on that. So I want to thank you for being such good partners with the school district. In regards to historic building, the board has spoken on that, and student achievement needs to come first. And that's why I'm so excited to partner. All of us are excited to partner with the city of Bonita Springs to bring forward that $40 million brand new state-of-the-art school. And we really are truly looking forward to making sure that we partner and work on a way to honor the historic building as part of that process, whether that's with the city of Bonita Springs as well, historic. So I want to appreciate you all for that, and we look forward to continuing to hear feedback on that. So regards to everyone else, I want to say we truly, truly appreciate your feedback. It is really important to us to hear that. So thank you, everyone, and we're going to move on now to the next item on the agenda, which would be consent agenda items. So the documentation for action items listed under consent is made available to board members 7 business days prior to the board meeting. We're expected to review all the materials, and we have an opportunity to speak with the superintendent with any questions we may have regarding the recommendations. Some of these items have also been workshopped with the board in advance of appearing on the action agenda. Board members, are there any agenda items you wish to pull for discussion under the unfinished and tabled items? I will start with you, Ms. Giovanelli.
Yes. M, consent operations 14, M14, which is approval to pursue the sale of 18-plus acres of SDLC property of 13401 Palomino Lane.
Okay, M14 has been noted. Thank you, Ms. Juvenelli. Mr. Ribble?
None.
Okay, Ms. Jordan?
None.
Okay, Mr. Persons?
I have none.
Ms. Langford Fleming?
I have none.
Mrs. Chaviano?
I have none.
And I have none. So is there a motion to approve tonight's agenda's consent action items with the exception of item pulled M14?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay, moved by Mr. Ribble. Do we have a second? Seconded by?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Persons. So please record your vote. Motion carries 7-0. Before we proceed on to the next agenda item, Superintendent Carlin, please introduce any administrators in attendance.
Will do. Chair Fisher, thank you very much for the privilege to announce our following administrators that have just been approved with the approval of this consent agenda. So I'd like to introduce to you for the very first time, Darcia Burrell, who's our new assistant principal at Island Coast High School. Next up, Jessica Rebus, assistant principal, Manatee Elementary. Very proud to announce Michelle Stanford as the proud principal of Pelican Elementary. Congratulations to David Newland, who is being promoted to Chief Safety, Security, and Fleet Operations. Jessica Derryberry, who is the new assistant principal at Amonacer Elementary. And Kimberly English Baxa, principal of Fort Myers Beach Elementary. We are very proud of all of you. We know that you're going to do a phenomenal job at your schools and your sites, and just thank you for joining our leadership team. We're very proud of you.
Thank you, Dr. Carlin. Congratulations to everyone, as I will always take off of Mr. Persons on this. So please enjoy tonight, and we look forward to seeing you all tomorrow in your new roles. Thank you. Next up on the agenda will be item M14. Whenever, I'll take a pause to clear the room. Okay, we're ready to resume the meeting. Whenever you're ready, Dr. Carlin, please read your recommendation for item M14.
Thank you, Chair Fisher. My recommendation is to approve the sale of 18-plus acres of School District of Lee County property located at 13401 Palomino Lane to American Land Ventures for $12,250,000. The estimated settlement cost to the district for broker fees, legal fees, and title insurance are $848,270. The school board approved this identified land as surplus in the most recent educational plant survey per Florida statute 1013.28. 1. This designation indicates that the property is deemed unnecessary for educational purposes. Approval authorizes the superintendent to execute all documents.
Thank you, Dr. Carlin. Is there a motion to adopt Dr. Carlin's recommendation? Was there a first?
Oh.
Somebody?
I'll make the motion.
Motion to approve by Ms. Ribble. Do we have a second? Okay. Ms. Jordan, moved by Ms. Jordan. Just want to confirm for the record. Thank you. Okay. I will defer first off to Ms. Giovanelli for any discussion.
Thank you. So for me, I really want to talk about this because I think we really need to think about selling land. We're not purchasing land, and God's not making it. And I know this is 18 acres, and it's not suitable for our prototype, but are we really thinking outside the box? Could this have been an opportunity for attainable housing? Could this have been an opportunity for a 750-seat school? We know we need seats in the East Zone. This is fairly close to the East Zone. I just feel like we really, since we have a new superintendent, to have fresh eyes, to look at what is surplus, what we should be keeping, what we should be selling. Just to put it in perspective, this is 18 acres for 1.250 million, right? 12 million. And we just sold 69 acres, 3 Oaks Parkway, for 15 million. So that's a big difference if you start looking at that and the values. And I'm telling you, dirt is not cheap. And I just am concerned. I don't know that this is a bad deal, good deal. I'm not going to question that. That's not really what my thought is really that we need to really be looking at our land and what we have. I really didn't think we should have sold the 69 acres even. So I really would like to have the opportunity to have the superintendents, and they're new, and she's not had a chance to really look at what we have listed, to really look at what we have listed, what we're going to sell, what we really should sell. I understand we have something like an acre, and we have property on like Upper Captiva. There's no school going to be on Upper Captiva, so I don't have a problem with selling those things, and a lot here and there. But 18 acres, that could be a site for 750 students. I actually had a couple constituents that contacted me that are in the business, and they said we shouldn't be selling land because we don't know where we're going to need a seat or two. So that's why I pulled this item. Doesn't mean we won't sell it 6 months from now, and I'm wrong, but I think that the superintendent should look at our surplus and really decide if this is what we should be doing at this time. That's it. Thank you.
Any other board member comments? Ms. Jordan?
Thank you, Ms. Giovanelli, and I know that you brought this piece of land has been brought up multiple times over the years, and we always come to this conclusion of not selling it. So I feel the same way that when you're stating that land it's just not there. And yes, I would love for our new superintendent to take a look at that and put her eyes on it and see what she feels.
Mr. Persons?
I mean, 18 acres is, maybe you could put a real small school on there, but it's really not where we're probably going to be heading. I don't think that would be cost effective. You put a small school there, you still got to get a principal, assistant principal, the parking and everything else. It ends up being, more expensive. Now, whether it's a good deal or not, I'm not in real estate, so I can't say that. I'm trusting our planning department and everything that's looked into this, that it is a good deal. I'd rather see that money sold if we're not going to use it, don't have any plans to use it at this time. There's nothing in our capital plan to use it at this time and put towards something that we are going to use. I mean, it's just to hold on the land. I agree it's not there, but that area is built out. And if we don't need seats there right now, I don't see where we will be needing seats. So I'm more inclined to say, because it's been brought up before, and just sitting there as surplus right now. So unless the superintendent or someone has a defined use for it, I think we could better use the money. Again, it's sort of like, do we want to keep it or do we need to keep it? Is it a want or a need? And I'm just not sure at this time.
Go to Ms. Langford Fleming, and I'll come back to you, Ms. Giovanelli.
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Ms. Giovanelli for bringing this topic up, because so many times we'll go through a consent agenda and we'll just pass everything, and I think that this is something that could later on somebody have questions about. So I think it's great that we have a conversation about it, especially for the public to see why we do what we do, because I think that's part of the biggest problem we have had in the district in the past. And I'm taking a risk here as opening a can of worms. But this is why 2 superintendents ago, I brought up a conversation about why I feel it's important that we don't have necessarily just one commercial realtor that is looking out for the best interest in the district. I brought it up in the past. I know that our county uses multiple. And so to me, this circles back to this particular, something like this, we could be getting advice from more than one that's in the business. None of us up here are commercial realtors. I know Ms. Giovanelli is in the real estate industry. So I can't speak on whether this is a good deal or a bad deal, and I can't even speak on what we could put on this piece of property that could benefit the students of Lee County, and what's best served is the taxpayers' money. So I guess I needed to state that for the record. It was brought up, I brought it up 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, quite frankly, and I think that's something that we need to converse about in the future, instead of why we're relying on one group to maybe advise us on what we're doing with our real estate. I'd love to hear what the superintendent has to say about this, and I guess I'm open to tabling this if research needs to be done for the new superintendent, but I'll go ahead and hand it over through the chair to the super.
Dr. Carlin?
So first of all, thank you for the conversation, and I really do appreciate Ms. Giovanelli bringing up the fact that, I'm new to the seat and having that opportunity to take a look. I did notice a couple of things, and obviously being retired and having some opportunity to watch board meetings before I was elected gave me a little bit of perspective on what we're doing in terms of how we land here. One of the things I noticed right off the bat was right before I got here, we made a decision about the capital plan. The costs were exorbitant, cost of inflation, cost of materials, all of that has skyrocketed. And so I saw the board take deliberate action to actually reduce what we were doing with our capital plan so that we could still move forward with some projects, but there were unfortunately some projects that went by the wayside, right? And so we know we're in a high growth area. We have 2,000 new students since May, so that is definitely a concern to me, because we need to make sure that we have a capital plan that is aggressively looking out for, being able to provide seats for students. Having said that, and I also recognize Ms. Giovanelli for talking about attainable housing. That is something that we've talked about as a community, and that's a decision for us to make, a conversation for us to have as we move forward. Do we want to be in that business? There's a lot of reasons to do that. We heard some teachers talk today about teachers leaving, bus drivers leaving, so it's getting difficult to be able to afford housing. And so there is some argument certainly to be said for sitting at the table. Here's where I fall on this issue. We have had some conversation offline with staff, and they really are talking about the importance of looking closely at each of these properties. And I also heard this in the community when I ran. You all have a lot of surplus properties out there. What are you doing? And when you cry that you don't have enough money in capital, what about all those properties? The ones you're not going to build on, the ones that are too small to really do anything in terms of substantively impacting your population in terms of serving your students. So where I fall on this is I am comfortable with the sale. of the property. Again, I'm not a realtor, so it's hard for me to judge whether that's a good buy or a bad buy. Again, I leave that to the experts, but I will tell you that some of the things that Ms. Giovanelli talked about tonight, looking at attainable housing, looking at our surplus property and making decisions about what we're going to do with that property is on my radar. So I would recommend that we proceed with the sale, but we will keep those things in mind that the board has spoken about tonight. Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Langford Fleming, before I go to Ms. Giovanelli?
No, I found it to be very important that the public heard the superintendent's why behind the what.
Of course, thank you. Ms. Giovanelli?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Carlin, for that. So, and just a little history for some of the new board members as well. This is the third contract for this piece of property. 2 have fell apart before that. So that is a red flag. That doesn't mean that this is even going to follow through with the sale as well. We don't even get notified that when deals fall through. Like, I found that out, I think, on the contract before this, that the deal fell through. Like, so that is one thing I would like to be updated on. But I just think it's important to really think outside the box, because I don't think we do that enough. I think, like using the prototype, it's not always perfect. We're having to do something different for the innovation school that's now not going to be called the innovation school. So, I think that looking at the plan and really dissecting what are we doing, because we're kind of sometimes all over the place because we're not getting all the information, or we get all the information, but we're not given all the information. The information sometimes there, we don't always get it. So I think I still am reluctant over it at this point in time, because I think we should slow down a bit. Like I said, the 69 acres in Three Oaks, I don't think we should have sold that. So I will probably vote no tonight, but I respect the board and their outcome, and I respect the superintendent's thought about all this, but I'm just going to stay firm that sometimes I think, God's not making any more dirt, and I'm going to stick to that. Thank you.
Any other comments before we move forward? Okay. I just want to appreciate your insight on that, Ms. Giovanelli. Thank you. And you've brought some of these things up before. I'm comfortable myself going forward with this, but I agree with what you said, and we really need to think outside the box. And many of the issues you've talked about, we've talked about as a board, and I'm excited, especially with our new superintendent, the things that can happen now moving forward. So we are going to, was there anything else, Dr. Crum? Okay. Is this going to be a roll call vote? Okay, this is going to be a roll call vote, so signify by saying aye or nay. We'll start off with you, Ms. Giovanelli.
I'm a no, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Ribble. Aye. Ms. Jordan.
Aye.
Mr. Persons.
Aye.
Mrs. Langford Fleming.
Aye.
Mrs. Chaviano.
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 6-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up on the agenda is Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation. We'll now take a recess from the regular school board action meeting to attend to this matter. The time is 7:30 p.m. As president of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation, I would like to call this meeting of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation of December 10th, 2024 to order. The time is 7:30 p.m. On this evening's agenda includes public comment, 2 secretaries' recommendations, good of the order, and other business. Directors. The president will entertain a motion to adopt the agenda for tonight. Ms. Jordan?
I move to adopt the agenda as written.
Okay. Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay. This will be a roll call vote on this. Okay. Ms. Giovanelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ribble? Yes. Ms. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Persons?
Yes.
Ms. Langford Fleming?
Aye.
Mrs. Chaviano?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 7-0. Attorney Debris Bruno, please address the item for public comment.
At this time, members of the public have an opportunity to comment on the items outlined on the agenda for the Leasing Corporation. And Mr. President, there is nobody who has signed up at this time.
Okay. Is there anyone outside in the audience right now that is wishing to make any public comment on said matter for the Leasing Corporation? Okay. Seeing none, Moving on, we'll now move on to the Secretary's recommendations. Dr. Carlin, please state your first recommendation.
Thank you, Chair Fisher. Approval of the minutes of the last Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation meeting held on April 23rd, 2024.
Is there a motion to approve minutes? Mr. Persons?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from April 23rd, 2024 of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation.
Is there a second?
I'll second it. Thank you.
Okay, moved by Mr. Persons, second of Ms. Juvenelli. Is there any discussion on these minutes? Okay. Seeing none, we're going to go by roll call vote again. Mrs. Juvenelli?
Yes.
Mr. Ribble?
Aye.
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Persons?
Yes.
Mrs. Langford Fleming?
Aye.
Mrs. Chaviano?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 7-0. We'll now move on to the next item on the agenda. Dr. Carlin, please state your second recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Approval of the organizational resolution of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation for the election of officers.
Okay. Directors, you've heard the Secretary's recommendation to approve the organizational resolution of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation for the election of officers. I will now entertain a motion to approve. Ms. Langford Fleming?
I'll move to approve.
Second?
I'll second.
Moved by Ms. Langford Fleming, seconded by Ms. Juvenelli. This will be again a roll call vote. Mrs. Juvenelli, what is your vote?
Yes.
Mr. Ribble?
Aye.
Ms. Jordan?
Aye.
Mr. Persons?
Aye.
Ms. Langford Fleming?
Aye.
Mrs. Chaviano?
Aye.
And I am an aye. Motion carries 7-0. We'll now move on to go to the order of other business. Please note that comments may only be made in your capacity as directors and officers of this corporation. Are there any comments from you, Ms. Juvenelli?
Do you have a few?
Well, this just for the leasing
Oh,
corporation.
I have nothing to leasing. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Sorry, just wanted to make sure. Mr. Ribble?
I have none.
Ms. Jordan?
I have none.
Mr. Persons?
I have none.
Ms. Langford Fleming?
I have none.
Mrs. Chaviano?
I have none.
And I have none. At this point, having no other business come before this body and seeing no objection, the meeting of the Lee County School Board Leasing Corporation is now adjourned. The time is 7:34 p.m. I'll now reconvene the regular school board action meeting of December 10th, 2024. The time is 7:34 p.m. We'll now move on to good of the order and other business, and I will now start with you, Mrs. Juvenelli.
We approved a lot of things tonight, but there was one thing that was particular that I wanted to talk about, and I was trying to find it really fast. It's the partnership with the state attorney. Where did that go? I just wanted the community to know about it. Through the chair, if the superintendent could just kind of talk a little bit about that real quick. I was trying to find it, and I don't know which one it is. That partnership. Of course, it was like a big paragraph, too.
So it's H6 under academic services, and I, through the chair, okay to
Proceed,
speak about it. Thank you
Superintendent.
very much. So this is an opportunity for us to partner with a wide variety of agencies, State Attorney's Office, the 20th Judicial Circuit, the Children's Advocacy Center of Southwest Florida, the Sheriff's Department, Fort Myers PD, Cape Coral PD, Sanibel PD, and of course, with us as a school board. And really, what we did tonight was we helped to streamline, collaborate, and minimize the number of interviews involving juvenile victims of abuse, neglect, and including sexual abuse. So this gives us an opportunity really to have more of ability to collaborate around these types of very serious issues that confront our children, and making sure that we always preserve the ability to be able to talk with kids on a certain amount of times and not put them through additional trauma when they're involved in various types of abuse. So obviously, very sad topic, but very good news in terms of our ability to partner with our fellow folks in the community. So thank you.
And so thank you for that, because I think it's important. I mean, when a victim has to tell their story so many times, this eliminates that trauma, have to relive that trauma. And I think that I'm excited to see how this is going to unroll, but at least it's supposed to help the victim where they don't have to tell their story, but, one time to an adult and hopefully makes them feel more comfortable. So like I said, this is a kind of an interesting partnership, and I'm excited about it because there's so many groups that you're going to, that are involved in this partnership. So I think it's exciting. The other thing that I really wanted to talk about real quick was, and this is through the chair, if the superintendent would look into this, the transportation department, and because we had some speakers come tonight and talk about stuff that I know that you're aware of because we've been talking about it. And I am concerned over the transportation, and I don't know how, well, it's not my role to make it better, but to bring it to you, in which I have. But I mean, when you have the employees come and the victims come, that's because they feel like that. That's their mentality, is a victim mentality, and they don't see change, and the change that they see isn't what should be changing, then that sends up red flags. So that's why I'm gonna have you really delve into this and really get to the bottom of things, so they can do their job and feel comfortable that they can continue doing their job. Otherwise, we're going to lose them to go do their job somewhere else, and that's my concern, because you can see the heart of this gentleman that comes, and I know there's many behind him that are standing there asking for him to help, and they're sending him as the advocate for that. But I know there's more because they're calling me too. Also, this BSI stipend, I would like to get information on that, and what, if in fact it's been reduced 15% and what happened, because I am concerned on when you have another, teachers come and complain about this and saying there's nothing they can do. Well, they did speak up, and I'm certainly listening up. So I am going to make sure that them coming and speaking, and I love the fact that they said they brought their children to show them for standing up for themselves, and that this is what it looks like, and there's nothing going to happen to them. In fact, I hope it's going to give them 15% more. So that's my plan. So anyways, I just wanted to acknowledge that and have you look into those two items. And I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Take the time when you have this vacation, and enjoy every moment to relax, because I know how hard everyone works at the district. And I look forward to 2025. I think it's going to be a new year. That'll give the sea legs to the superintendent maybe a little bit better opportunity for her to really get more information and get up to speed. And I wish everybody at the table Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And 2025 will be here before we know it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Giovanelli. Mr. Ribble.
All right, I'm only going to take a minute. I do want this afternoon about my compliment to Scott Rickenbacker and all he does with construction, and I was very impressed with him. I had a great meeting yesterday with Student Services, found out what they're all about and how they're moving forward. Last week I attended the Florida School Board Association. That was a cold several days of learning up there, but we ran into some familiar faces here. I want to congratulate Sam Fisher for being elected to the nominating committee for that board. And I also want to thank our attorney, Dupree Bruno, who ran an excellent workshop on First Amendment rights, and believe it or not, my favorite topic, civility. So I thought you did a great job. You were well received by all the folks that were there from the other 67 counties. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Ribble. Ms. Jordan?
Thank you. If I may, Dr. Carlin, I also would like to have that, if you would make sure you share that information regarding transportation. I really feel that it is time for us to figure this out, because they continue to come And we want to make sure, because we do need to keep them.
Happy to do that, and absolutely will do that.
Thank you so
Yes.
much on that. I really appreciate that. And as well as and I really believe that our word is our word. And so when the family came up and spoke, I just want to make sure that we are who we say we are, and we do keep our word on that.
We'll look into that as well.
Thank you. And also, I just wanted to put this out there. I was going to pull the job descriptions, however, I did not after speaking today and speaking with Dr. Carlin. But again, listening to all of our staff come up again and speaking about money, I really want to make sure that we are really responsible and really making sure that we are doing everything we can for our employees who are very dedicated. They're here all the time. And I know Mr. Call, he did have a lot of the kids from Edison Park. That was his school at one time. So I thank him for always caring about the kids as well. Also, tomorrow night, I want to make sure that people do not forget that North Fort Myers Academy is presenting the Nutcracker. It's a beautiful transition, and you really want to go and watch this. North Fort Myers High School actually just performed Elf this past week. They did a tremendous job, and they also performed that. They had over 1,000 elementary kids came to the school to watch Elf. My granddaughter was one of them, so I've been listening to the story over and over again for days now, but they always do an excellent job, and you just cannot beat the performances that they do. They are excellent. We want to go and we want to make sure that we do support our students and our schools. So please, keep track of, on the website, it's always there of what they're doing, so please do that. Also, I was able to attend a new honorary street named after Pastor Edwards over off of Palm Avenue and in Fort Myers, who was helped with desegregation of our schools way back when. And I just wanted to bring that up because there was a lot of people there, and I think that it was noteworthy of us to, I was there and I felt, we had Jared Eady there, who was the historian, of course, and it was just really a great day. And I want to say happy birthday to Mr. Navarro, because he did tell us it was his birthday. He slid that in there. So happy birthday, to him. And I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and hopefully everybody gets enough rest and comes back and we start the new year off together. One team, one dream.
Thank you, Ms. Jordan. Next up, Mr. Persons.
You could be a coffee bean.
I am a coffee bean.
I do want to say there's been so much going on since we had the new board brought on onboarding, the FSBA, many events, welcoming events. But the one thing that I really enjoyed since our last meeting was the grants. They did awards. Even though I am disappointed they give out more money than when I was chair. They gave out $100,000 in grants to various schools and teachers. Mm-hmm. And that was from the Lee County Foundation. It's amazing, but the one that stuck to me and the one that I want to see our district get behind, somehow find money for funding, is Tice Elementary has an excellent program for teaching English to the parents who don't speak it. They were awarded $5,000 to continue that program. I think they got another grant from somewhere else also. So we need to really make that, because it's such a problem when so many of our parents cannot speak English and cannot communicate to the district. And we just need to somehow do everything we can to rectify that. I know some churches are also working on that, but it needs to be a total community effort. So anything we can do to get behind that, I'll definitely support. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Persons. Mrs. Langford Fleming.
Thank you. And first of all, before I get started on my list, apologize. I had to scoot out early from today's workshop. So I'll try to be as brief as possible. I just want to say thank you to the speakers that came this afternoon or this evening and addressed the board. I used to say this to my students all the time. If I don't know it's broken, then I can't help you fix it. So, and that goes for our community members. If we don't know there's something going on, then we can't help you address the problem or fix the problem. So thank you, because Ms. Giovanelli touched on the listen up, speak up, and I know that this board is also committed to following up, as you could hear on this board tonight while we continued to push and ask those questions. I did attend the FSBA. Yes, Ms. DePay-Bruno knocked it out of the park. Thank you so much for clarity on the First Amendment. I got a lot of positive comments after that talk, because I was really proud to say, well, she's our board attorney, so I happen to know her personally. But you know, another part of the conference, we were able to do breakout sessions, and the one I chose to go to because I am a mom, and I've started to see a pattern that's bothered me a little bit, and school attendance is a huge concern. It's a huge concern in the state, a huge concern in the nation, has gotten worse since COVID. I'm going to try to say this delicately. It's not going to come out that way. I am past using COVID as an excuse anymore. We are beyond COVID, and I know this district can come up with solutions on how to get these kids back in the classrooms consistently. It's directly correlated with student achievement, and to get there on time, whether they're bus riders or parent drop-off or guardians take them to school. I mean, our bus drivers are working around the clock. Mr. Call's here, and he's probably got to get up in 2 hours. So not just that, but staying in school all day, all 6.5 hours that they're supposed to be there. And I'd like to challenge our families at helping us keep those kids there, because what's happening in first period is as important what's happening in seventh. So that's just something that I've had a conversation with the super about, and I wanted to bring that up on the board, on the dais, because I wanted you all to know I've been talking about it in our one-on-ones. Thank you to Food Services today for providing the meal. I know that was extra work on your part, but I do agree with Ms. Giovanelli's final comments in the board workshop. I know we can do better, and I have complete faith that our food services are going to do better and meet that challenge. I know part of it is financials, part of it is communication, part of it is what we can and cannot do. But I know if these conversations start happening, that we are going to come to solutions. Yes, Ms. Jordan always does such a great job at bringing up all of our student events, and not to take anything away from our, the events that happen that are outside of our schools. But if I was going to take my family somewhere, I would much rather take them to go watch violinists at the Edison Park, their concert, or a show at the Barbara B. Mann, performed by the North Fort Myers Academy of Arts, and et cetera, et cetera. And that happens all year long. I'm getting there, Chair Fisher. We have endured another sticky year with another hurricane. And the fact that we're here after the first semester and the wheels are turning and the machine is running, I just kudos to everyone on all the staff that made all that happen. And I really, truly hope that our staff and employees shut their laptop for a little while. I know you're not going to do it the entire 2 weeks, because I was an educator and I know what that looks like. But just for a little bit, embrace time with your family and friends. And we get those 2 weeks off, or the staff does, but I think it's important that we know there are some individuals that don't get those 2 weeks off, and those are the special gentlemen that are here tonight right here in our SROs. And I appreciate you so much, because I know that you're going to still be working to keep our families safe through the Christmas season, and I really, really appreciate all that you do. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Chaviano.
Yeah, so
I spoke earlier about, a great week at FSBA, so we'll leave it at that. There's a lot to learn, so coffee bean moment. Great job to Edison Park Music Ensemble. That was truly awesome to see our kids in action. And as a mom whose daughter wanted to play violin and is excited to do it, I was like, goodness, this is it. So very, very cool, very, very proud. Like, congratulations to these parents and supporting those efforts, because that's extra after school. There's all these other things that go into that. So thank you for championing that, and I look forward to seeing what else these kids are going to come up with as we go on for the year. Of course, as we enter the holiday season, there is a lot going on for everyone, and I really do hope everyone does truly disconnect, because life's going to happen anyway, right? Things are going to happen. So take those moments with your family, because you don't get those same moments twice. Take the time, be grateful, look around, and just really recharge and fill your cup. And be ready for the new year that's going to come, because exciting things are going to happen. I just look forward to serving you guys for next year. So rest up, be healthy, be safe. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I am up next. When obviously most people have already spoken about stuff, which is great, so I appreciate that. Real quick, FSBA had a really good time up there, really able to talk to a lot of different people from some different districts and get some ideas. I do find it amusing, and now I know what Ms. Juvenelli and Ms. Jordan, Mr. Persons, Ms. Langford Fleming, we're no longer the new kids in the block, so we know what that's like. But great time up there. Thank you. I know there will be a future meeting, but I want to congratulate Principal Burnside of Dunbar High School for Principal of the Year, Assistant Principal Cook from North Fort Myers Academy of Arts, and Miss Peggy Quinn of Trafalgar Middle School of School-Related Employee of the Year. So that was most of us were able to get around to that, and that was a great moment. Outside of that, thank you as well to Principal Rustino for, as usual, inviting us to Thanksgiving. That's always a great time at Lemuel Teal. So outside of that, I am excited for the new year. It's, as I said before, pedal to the metal. I want to wish everyone a happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, and a happy New Year. So, and Attorney Debris Bruno, as everyone else said, great job. And like Ms. Langford Fleming said, they're like, who's that attorney? So the work you put in, we appreciate you. So thank you. Now on to you, Ms. Attorney Debris Bruno.
So the one thing I will say that in both sessions, there were members of the audience who were asking some very thought-provoking questions. They know who they are. Some of them are on this dais right now, just saying. But thank you very much, Board, for recognizing that. I just want to wish everybody a really good, happy holiday season, Happy New Year, and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. This is the opportunity for us to just pause and really think about gratitude and being able to espouse our humanity with each other. We sent our legal quill, and we were able to find a legal avenue and a legal reason to be kind to each other, especially during this season. So we continue to ask that everybody do that, and that's it. Thank you. See you next year.
Madam Superintendent.
Thank you, Chair Fisher. So I'll just echo what everybody said about FADS and the FSBA conference. This has now been, I've had 4 days of new superintendent training, so I think they are onboarding us well. They kind of enticed us up there, said, no, you're going to be with your board, and then they whisked us away into training. So it was kind of an interesting week, but always just great to be with you, and thank you so much for just everything you've done to welcome me on board. This has been, I know Ms. Chaviano and Mr. Ribble echo these sentiments, but when you come into a new position and you're on the campaign trail and you're elected, and when you land together as a team, I wouldn't choose any other team than this team to have my first superintendency experience. So just thank you very much for that. A couple of things, just speaking of the conference, just congratulations again to Chair Fisher on your recent appointment to the Florida Palm Board of Trustees. That's fantastic. And also to the FSBA nominating committee this past week. So congratulations on that. Ms. Langford Fleming, I couldn't echo your sentiments harder relative to the attendance, student attendance, and tonight we approved an amendment to the Stronger Connections grant, which has everything to do with everyday labs and support around our schools and their efforts relative to interventions for student attendance. So we're very excited about that. I also had an opportunity to get out to schools this week. Yay. So that was exciting. Got to see the Nutcracker at North Fort Myers Academy, what those children do over there, and just seeing the principal involved, the very professional set they have. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I hope you all get a chance to go tomorrow night. I know I had a prior commitment, so I snuck over to the school the other day. Just a beautiful performance. Our little guys all the way up to our older students in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. There's a ballerina. I'm not going to ruin it, but she is absolutely amazing. The talent is esque, and I just can't wait. If you get the opportunity, please go see that. So speaking of the first couple of weeks, I'm very, very proud to share with our community, and our board has heard me talk about this numerous times. We are so focused as a district on the 5 priorities that I ran on. We talked on the campaign trail, and now I'm so happy because as a team, we've talked about our priorities and getting laser-like focused on the work. So things like making sure that we're ensuring safe schools for our staff and our children. We had an incident a couple of weeks ago that you're going to hear about on the news if you haven't already, relative to a situation at one of our elementary schools. Open Gate caught the weapon that was going to be brought onto the campus and stopped it right there. So we'll be talking with you about that. But we just got notice that that was going to be on the news. Also, things like increasing student achievement. And I heard numerous teachers come up tonight and other team members and talk about how important student achievement is. And that is our number 2 priority right after safety and security. And I'm going to share with you that our team is buckling down. We are looking closely at ways to improve student achievement. It starts with the teacher, and it starts with high quality practices. I heard a little talk today about budget and prioritizing our budget, making sure that we are putting the dollars where they belong. And I've heard comments about how are we going to preserve dollars and actually generate dollars so that we can put them towards salaries and things like that. As the new superintendent in this school district, I can tell you that I have an unwavering commitment to our staff. I know people have said it. I'm going to share with you how we're doing it. I have given a work directive to our cabinet. They will be coming back with their budgets in terms of cuts that will be made. We will go line by line, like I promised on the campaign trail, and we will separate out the must-dos and the nice-to-dos. And when we talk about generating dollars for salaries, that's one of my priorities, is making sure that we're looking at those nice-to-dos, perhaps putting those aside, and instead focusing on those high-quality teachers and other team members that we have in this school district and making sure that they are making a livable wage. So that is my commitment, and that is the work we're going to go to work on as a cabinet. We're going to model the way as the central office. We're going to start the work. And then I will share with you empowering the voices of parents, very important. Talked on the campaign trail about being a parent. Many of us are parents currently, and we need to make sure that our parents are our partners. So just thank you for indulging me, allowing me to share some of my priorities with our public, and now they are our district priorities. So I'm very, very proud of that work and can't wait to get started on it. And then finally, just want to wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and all the best in 2025. Can't wait to get started, get my skis under me, and with our team. I just also want to thank you for your commitment to this district, to all of our teachers and our support team members and everybody out there, including our students and families. Just have a great holiday, disconnect all that good stuff we talked about tonight on the dais, but please make sure that you take time for you. Regenerate, take some time to relax, and just enjoy your family time. And we'll see everybody back here in January.
Thank you, Superintendent Carlin. Next scheduled meetings of the board, January 7, 2025. There'll be a school board workshop with, yes. Well, go ahead, Mr.
I apologize. I just wanted to make sure we recognized our communications today with the awards that they won, but our HR department also had won some awards, Dr. Carlin. If you could, I
Yes.
just want to make sure that.
Oh,
we-
sure. Yes, thank you
that we
very
share
much.
that as
Yes,
well,
thank
because
you
we
so
are-
much. I appreciate
And
that.
I would go home feeling bad.
No worries at all. Thank you so much, Ms. Jordan. And let me find that just a moment here. Thank you for bringing that up. So yes, we did, gosh, and we are so lucky because we have so many different people. If we recognized everybody that won an award, we'll be here through next week. But this is something very important. So our chief of HR has also won an HRO Today Association Award for excellence in the North America region. And so thank you for bringing that up, and congratulations to Angela.
Now we're on to next scheduled meetings. Tuesday, January 7, 2025, will be a school board workshop with public comment at 1 p.m., followed by a school board action meeting at 6 o'clock. At this point, having no other business to come before this body and seeing no objection, this meeting is adjourned. The time is 8:02 p.m. Happy holidays, everyone.